Buddy, sorry about the delay there. I had to go do something. But let's get started. So, this was a very interesting little study that I did yesterday and today, and I came across this. I just wanted to share it before I haven't gone like super deep into it, but I just wanted to share it because it was very exciting. There's definitely an enigma here, which is what led me down this little avenue in my study, and it pertains to the word watch. Excuse me. So let's start. Mark 4, sorry, is it 14 or 13 we should start at? Mark 13, yeah. So starting at verse 28, right? This is when Jesus is actually being asked by the disciples, what are the signs that you're coming and blah, 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 right? So it's actually specifically talking about that, right? So anyways, he says, and from the fig tree learn ye the simile. When the branch already may become tender and may put forth the leaves, you know that nigh is the summer. And also this is similar in Mark 24. They ask, what's the sign you're coming? He says, when the stars are falling like ripe figs and all that, right? So when it says, may put forth the leaves, this referencing to that, right? You know that nigh is the summer. Summer is where you harvest the fruit, right? So, and he says, so ye also, when these ye may see coming to pass, you know that it is nigh at the door. So he's talking about when, you know, the arrival happens, right? So those cosmic things aren't happening right now for us, angels coming down and all that. So, we have to wait a little bit longer. And he says, nigh at the door. So verily I say to you that this generation may not pass away till all these things may come to pass. The heaven and the earth shall pass away, but my word shall not pass away. And concerning that day and the hour no one has known, not even the messengers who are in the heaven, not even the Son, except the Father. Doesn't say anything about you won't know the week, month, or year, right? Just the day or hour, except the Father. Take heed, watch, and pray, for ye have not known when the time is. It's ironic that he says that, but check this out. This is why I think he's coded something here, right? He says, take heed, watch, and pray, for ye have not known when the time is. And he just before mentioned the day or hour, right? So when he says you don't know the time, it's obviously you won't know the day or hour, right? As a man who has gone abroad, having left his house and given to his servants the authority and to each one his work, did command also the porter that he may watch. Now pay attention now. It says, watch ye therefore, for ye have not known when the Lord of the house does come, at evening, or at midnight, or at cockcrowing, or at the morning. Lest, having come suddenly, he may find you sleeping. And what I say to you, I say to all, watch. Now this struck me as enigmatic, right? Because I was trying to find deeper things to help prove when the end times will come, when the arrival will come, right? Just bear with me here. It ends on that enigmatic saying. He says, and what I say to you, I say to all, watch. And why do I say it's enigmatic? Because it's been 2,000 years. People don't live 2,000 years. What are you going to do, watch for 2,000 years? Obviously, there's something that we have to watch for when it's coming close to the end, right? He's already said visible signs. That's how you know it's happening. But I have a stubborn belief that there's more clues hidden. Okay, not just these physical, visible things that we'll see, but even more clues, right? So going on that whim that I had, I was like, what if there's like this something he's coded in here? Because it struck me as enigmatic. Watch. How could you watch over 2,000 years, right? So what I think it means is, well, what it led me to do is search for the term watch. Now check this out, right? Remember that it says, lest having come suddenly he may find you sleeping. So you have to watch so that he doesn't catch you sleeping. How can you, if you don't know when he's going to come, right, the day or the hour, how can you stay awake? How can you watch perpetually? You know what I mean? He's literally talking about for his arrival. He's not talking about some spiritual thing necessarily and all that. Yeah, you have to spiritually be ready and be righteous. That's beside the point. He's talking about what are the signs of my coming, and he's telling us to watch, right? That's what I mean. It's like enigmatic. Watch for what? So, because you don't want to be caught sleeping. So if we search the Tanakh, okay, I got my washing machine in the background, sorry. That's alright. If we search the Tanakh for watch, or the whole Bible, sorry, for watch, not the Tanakh. We find something very interesting in Mark 14. In Mark, which one should I read first? There's a lot here to go through, but which one should I read next? Oh, yeah, I should read these ones next. Okay, so, what's this one for? I got so many open here, bear with me. Kind of having, not very organized for this. Anyways, Matthew 26, verse 39, whatever, let's read from there. Jesus about to die, and he says, having gone forward a little, he fell on his face praying and saying, my Father, if it be possible, let this cup pass from me, nevertheless not as I will, but as thou. And he cometh unto the disciples, and findeth them sleeping, and he saith to Peter, so ye were not able 1 hour to watch with me. Watch and pray, that ye may not enter into temptation. The spirit indeed is forward, but the flesh is weak. And again, a second time, having gone away, he prayed, saying, my Father, if this cup cannot pass away from me, except I drink it, thy will be done. And having come, he findeth them again sleeping, for their eyes were heavy. And having left them, having gone away again, he prayed a third time, saying the same word. Then cometh he unto his disciples, and saith to them, sleep on henceforth, and rest. Lo, the hour is come nigh, and the Son of Man is delivered up to the hands of sinners. So, like I said, I had this feeling, I was going on a whim, that when Jesus said, I say to you all, watch, that this was a coded, enigmatic saying. That was the whim I was going on, right? So I did the search in the Bible for the terms, and I find Jesus doing this very peculiar thing here, right? Jesus knows he's going to be put to death. What's the point of them staying awake like guards watching? Like, Jesus knew he had to go through what he was going to go through, right? So obviously this is peculiar. So we have some enigmatic thing here pertaining to watch and don't fall asleep, right? Because remember in Mark 13 he says, lest having come suddenly he may find you sleeping. So obviously he's giving us a hint as to when he'll come so that we won't be caught unawares. A hint for the wise, right? So in Matthew 26, he came to them 3 times and they were asleep. So basically they failed, okay? And he went off to die. So if we go back to the search, that similar thing is paralleled in all the Gospels, right? So I don't have to read all of them. I would like to read maybe one more. So that might be in Mark 6. No, Mark 14. Yeah, okay. So we go into Mark 14 now, around verse... well, it's the same thing, so I don't have to read it all again, right? Same scenario happened. Verse 35, and having gone forward a little, he fell upon the earth and was praying that if it be possible, the hour may pass from him. And he said, Abba, Father, all things are possible to thee. Make this cup pass from me, but not what I will, but what thou. And he cometh and findeth them sleeping. So it's the same scenario, right? Just repeated in the other gospel. And he cometh and findeth them sleeping, and saith to Peter, Simon, thou dost sleep. Thou was not able to watch 1 hour. Watch ye and pray, that ye may not enter into temptation. The spirit indeed is forward, but the flesh is weak. Right? So like I said, it's the same scenario. Right? He came back to them 3 times. Right? This very peculiar, enigmatic thing that's taking place here, right? Telling them off, so keep that in mind. Now I go back to the search, the Bible search, and this is important. Check this out. Check this out. If anybody thought it was a little boring, check this out. In Luke 12, verse 36, and ye like to men waiting for their Lord, when he shall return out of the wedding feast, that he having come and knocked, immediately they may open to him. Happy those servants whom the Lord, having come, shall find watching. Verily I say to you that he will gird himself and will cause them to recline at meat, and having come near will minister to them. And if he may come in the second watch, and in the third watch he may come, and may find it so, happy are those servants. And this know, that if the master of the house had known what hour the thief would come, that means Satan, he would have watched and would not have suffered his house to be broken through, because Jesus comes like a thief. He comes like a thief to take us away. Right? So he's referencing there's secrecy to this so that Satan wouldn't find out and all of that. That's why nobody could discern this until just before the time, right? Sealed up until the very end, right? That way nobody else could find out, right? And he made everybody ignorant until the end and then uncovered the wisdom, right? So if he may come in the second watch, and in the third watch he may come and may find it so, happy are those servants. No Christian church has ever talked about this. This is definitely an enigmatic verse, because nobody knows what it's talking about. Second watch, third watch, what does that mean, right? So follow me here, right? It says, and this know, that if the master of the house has known what hour the thief is, oh, I already said that, he would have watched and would not have suffered his house to be broken through. And it says, and ye then become ye ready, because at the hour ye think not the Son of Man does come. Again, we won't know the day or hour, and it says hour, ye think not the Son of Man does come. And Peter said to him, Sir, unto us this simile does thou speak, or also unto all? So it's I could read on more, but these are the pertinent verses. It's definitely talking about the Lord coming and people waiting for him and not being caught unawares. It's definitely talking about watching for when he would come. Okay? And what was it? It was in verse 38 where it says second watch and third watch. Now this is strikingly the exact same peculiar scenario from Matthew 26 and the other one in the other gospel, where Jesus came back on the second watch and on the third watch, and they were asleep. You follow me? Okay? That's why here it says, if he may come in the second watch and the third watch, he may come and may find it so, meaning they're awake and doing what they should be. Happy are those servants. But we had the premonition, the foreshadowing of what would end up happening, right? Where Jesus came on the third watch to his disciples and everybody was asleep. I think that's a foreshadowing to the world, because Jesus probably has already made his first watch arrival and we were asleep and we weren't ready to be taken. He came for a second watch arrival and we were asleep and weren't ready to be taken. The third watch, I don't know exactly where we are now, third or fourth, right? But this is what I'm getting to. The video I just made. Hold on, give me a second, in case this is an important phone call. Hello? Alright. No, that's wonderful. Oh my gosh. Right. Okay. Alright. Okay. Alright. Take care. No problem. Love you. Alright. Bye-bye. Let me check my time here. Alright, that's decent. Alright, so again, we have Jesus. I'm just doing a quick recap. Mark 13, Jesus said to watch, right? So then in Matthew 26 and the other Gospels, it's about he's coming on the first, the second, the third watch, and the disciples were asleep. I'm saying that's a foreshadow for what will end up happening. What I'm leading to is that Jesus has probably already come on a first, a second, and a third. I'm not sure. Maybe we haven't done the third watch yet. But my point is he's probably done the first and the second watch already, and we've been asleep, right? So we're waiting for the third or the fourth watch, right? Maybe it's the fourth or whatever. I'm just not doing mental math right now. Sorry. But clearly there's something peculiar and enigmatic here, right? That's undeniable. But then, check this out. This kind of like seals it off. This definitely means something, right? All of this here means something. And I'll show how this relates to the year we're in at the end, right? So if we go to Matthew 14, so we've heard about first, second, and a third watch, right? So I thought, okay, what about a fourth watch? Because if the disciples were asleep at the third watch, if anything, that's a foreshadow for the future, right? So I thought, let's search for a fourth watch. For there is a fourth watch mentioned in the Bible, right? And it says in verse 24, and the boat was now in the midst of the sea, distressed by the waves, for the wind was contrary. And in the fourth watch of the night, Jesus went away to them walking upon the sea. And the disciples, having seen him walking upon the sea, were troubled, saying, it is an apparition. And from the fear they cried out. And immediately Jesus spake to them, saying, be of good courage, I am he, be not afraid. And Peter answering him said, sir, if it is thou, bid me to come to thee upon the waters. And he said, come. And having gone down from the boat, Peter walked upon the waters to come to Jesus. But seeing the wind vehement, he was afraid, and having begun to sink, he cried out, sir, saying, sir, save me. So what do we see happening here in this scene with the fourth watch? For some reason, it says Jesus came on the fourth watch of the night, and it's him arriving, walking upon the sea. You know, the sea symbolizes mankind as well, right? It's also the earth. It's also miraculous. So this, to me, is a coded. You see where I'm getting to, right? It's hard for me to find my words, right? But it's him. It's like a parallel of him arriving to the world, right? And the disciples, the followers, will be on this little boat amidst the nations, being thrown about the storms and the nations and all that. And then one day we're just going to see Jesus appearing out there. You know what I mean? We'll think it's an apparition. We'll be in fear. And he's just going to appear coming towards us. And he's going to tell us, come to me. And we're going to have to go out and go across the waters to him. The waters might also symbolize the heavens. That's perfectly reasonable too, right? It could actually, probably is more so probably meant to be that. So this could actually be a coded hint that he'll be coming on the fourth watch. You see my point? Because all the other mentions in the Bible about first, second, and third watch, the disciples were asleep. But on the fourth watch, the disciples actually made the effort to go out and meet him. So I think what's happening is this is a clue that Jesus, so therefore I guess he has come on the third watch and we weren't ready. So we're waiting for the fourth watch then. Okay? Now how does that relate to what you're in? This might be reaching a tiny bit, but nonetheless, this is still enigmatic. And nonetheless, separately from this, what I'm about to say, all my other videos definitely pinpoint that we're in end times anyways. It's going to happen in a year now, right? So factoring that in, it therefore does not make what I'm about to say irrelevant or stretching or reaching. But I think the fourth watch is a simple coded allusion to the fourth year, because the video I just made clearly shows from Zechariah 1 that there will be 70 years, okay, after the rebirth of Israel, 70 years that God would abhor Jerusalem, okay, and then Jerusalem would be measured up, okay, and this took place from 1948 with the rebirth of Israel. 70 years later, in 2018, Jerusalem was declared the capital, and they literally must have measured it out, which would be required by law, right, because it's being rezoned and recategorized and all of that. So that's a perfect fulfillment. And Zechariah's one prophecy rolls straight from measuring Jerusalem, you know, the temple being there, then God coming himself to the earth and dwelling on the earth with us, right? So this is clearly about the end times. And how does that tie into this again? What was it? Oh yes, that's why. Because 70 years from 1948 would take you to 2018. So from 2018, we would have 4 years, right? You'd have 18, 19, 20, 21. And if the end comes in 2022, that's close enough, because I always said it's at the end of 2022, 2023, give or take a year, something like that, right? So what if the 4 watches are the 4 years? So 2018, it could be that it's at the end of 2018 that would make up for that year flux. You see what I mean? So if it's at the end of 2018, the first watch is supposed to happen, we weren't ready. That would be at the start of 2019. Then the second watch would have come at 2020, and we weren't ready. Then the third watch would have just happened at the start of 2021. Follow me? Then the fourth watch would be at the start of 2022. or somewhere in 2022, right? Depending how it goes. And I had that other video where it shows from the prophecy of Ezekiel. It's quite stunning. I won't get into any details, but it pinpoints Hanukkah, I think 7th or 8th day of Hanukkah, which I think offhand was December 4th of next year in 2022. So there's too many things all lining up here. So I think it's reasonable to say that the 4 watches could simply be the 4 years, right? 3 have gone by and we're waiting for the 4th watch. So to me, I was looking for more proof that would help pinpoint this year, and I was led down this avenue because of that enigma of, watch. And, how, I gotta do something to my washing machine. How can we watch for 2,000 years? You know what I mean? One second. I fixed it. Because really, I mean, if it isn't what I just suggested, I don't know what else it could be. Because the statements are just so enigmatic. It's just a mystery. You know what I mean? But they were all said for a reason. It's repeated throughout the different books for a reason. You know what I mean? These certain words like watch and third watch and fourth watch are all being used for a reason. And sleep was the other key term as well, right? So if you go back to the original one that I read, which was Mark 13, it says, watch ye therefore. So he's giving us instruction, watch ye therefore. How are you going to watch for 2,000 years? He must have given us a clue to when to start watching. He's saying, watch ye therefore, for ye have not known the day or hour, essentially, when the Lord thou dost come. Right? And he says, lest having come suddenly, he may find you sleeping. And what I say to you, I say to all, watch. So maybe this is the time we're supposed to be watching, right? 2018 was the first sign. I mean, all the Torah codes were saying that. 2018 was the time. What was that year? 5778 or something like that there? Or 5780, whatever it was. So anyways, that's all it is for this video, but I think that's interesting. I can't say this is hardcore proof. It would require more study, but, just surface observation right now, I could say this kind of seems like that's what it is. That's what it strikes me as, you know what I mean? So that's very, very interesting. So maybe this is the final year or close enough countdown, and we really have to watch now. You know what I mean? While I'm on this note, there is one other clue. He does say you don't know when he's going to come at night or this and that there. You won't know the day or the hour. But he did himself say, oh, that's right. It was a parable about the virgins and their lamps. Yeah, that's right. Hold on. If you don't know the exact word, it's like impossible to find something. I know the verse. I just don't know the exact words. Bear with me. I know the parable. I just can't seem to find it. It could be this one. Yeah, I think it's in Matthew 25. Let me just open it up real quick. Yeah, right here. This is the one. Matthew 25. Right? And check this. It's definitely talking about the arrival and all that. Verse 13, watch therefore, for ye have not known the day or hour in which the Son of Man does come. Right? But just above that, check what he hid in the verses and coded for us. Not even coded, but like hid away in the verses. It's the parable of the virgins, right? It says, then shall the reign of the heavens be like unto 10 virgins who having taken their lamps went forth to meet the bridegroom. That means the arrival of Messiah, right? And 5 of them were prudent and 5 foolish. They who were foolish, having taken their lamps, did not with themselves oil. And the prudent took oil in their vessels and with their lamps. And the bridegroom tarrying, meaning he didn't come on the appointed time. So that would lend credence and go with what I've been talking about already, right? So, and the bridegroom tarrying, they all nodded and were sleeping. Well, there we go. Yeah, it's definitely talking about what I'm talking about. I'm sorry, right? There you go. So he's come on the previous watches and everybody was asleep. And then it says, and in the middle of the night a cry was made, lo, the bridegroom does come. Go ye forth to meet him. So it blatantly says right there in the middle of the night. But the ironic thing with the earth, it's night on half and day on the other half. So you can't really know the day or hour that he's coming anyways. But he himself inarguably said, in the middle of the night a cry was made, lo, the bridegroom does come. Go ye forth to meet him. Then rose all those virgins and trimmed their lamps. And the foolish said to the prudent, give us of your oil, because our lamps are going out. These would be all the fake Christians and stuff, right? And then the prudent answered, saying, lest there may not be sufficient for us and you, go ye rather unto those selling and buy for yourselves. And while they were going away to buy, the bridegroom came, and those ready, who were watching and weren't asleep, went in with him to the marriage feast, and the door was shut. And afterwards come also do the rest of the virgins, saying, Sir, sir, open to us. And he answering said, Verily I say to you, I have not known you. Watch therefore, for ye have not known the day or the hour in which the Son of Man does come. Very, very interesting stuff. Very, very interesting. So I can't hardcore prove that the 4 watches is the 4 years, but kind of does seem like it. And it seems to fit nonetheless. I mean, even if it's not the 4 years, there's a set time period. The 6,000 ends in a year or two. Daniel's prophecy matches perfectly. You know what I mean? Abraham's life matches perfectly with 1948 and 2023. There's just so many things, the Torah codes, it all matches up. Even if the 4 watches aren't the 4 years, it's 4 watches, it's 4 appointed times when he would come and check in these last years, obviously. You know what I mean? But the fact that it says tarrying, so that right there is a clue from Jesus that he would tarry. You come a little bit late from the appointed time, right? And that there. So maybe, you know, if somebody like me had cracked the prophecy of Daniel, say a couple decades ago or whatever, and then realized, oh, you know, he's due to come 2018, just say, because that's the 70 year. Well, it doesn't account for the 75, right? But they could be going by other Jewish prophecies, which were indicating 70 years afterwards, right? So maybe, you know, just say maybe somebody decades ago calculated it, and they're like, oh, in 2018 he's going to come. That would have been the appointed time, I'm saying, right? But anyways, that might not even be correct because it's 75, not 70, right? If you're going by the prophecy of Daniel, it would have been 75, which would show you the end of 2022. But like I said, some rabbinical prophecies say 70 years, some say 72 after the rebirth of Israel, and all of that, right? But then we also have the other little thing to throw in there that Jerusalem was not officially recognized until 1950, right? So that could mean that the first watch or the first appointed time would be in 2020. Okay, so again, the 4 watches may not be 4 years, but there are definitely 4 points of time in the last few years, definitely. So 70 years from 1948, like I said in the previous video, we come to 2018 when Jerusalem was declared the capital. This is Zechariah 1 fulfilled, right? And God comes right after, but he hasn't come, and it's been a couple years. How could that possibly be? Well, like I said, 1950 is when Jerusalem was officially recognized. That would mean 70 years technically could be measured from 1950 until 2020. That would still work fine with 2018 Jerusalem being reaffirmed as the capital. That's all good. Doesn't contradict anything. It just means that the first appointed time would be 2020. It's kind of ironic as well that it's 2020. That's like perfect vision, perfect sight. He does say watch, doesn't he? That's ironic. That's like strangely ironic. 2020, perfect vision, watch. That's bizarre. But anyways, I don't know. That might be a coincidence, but maybe not. That's interesting. Um, but yeah, so I don't really need to say much more. I'd just be waffling. Unless there's any other watch verses that are important. So let me just click back here while I'm on the topic. I went to Matthew, Mark. I did some Luke. Yeah, let's check just in case there's anything like in Revelations. And let's see. First Peter. Okay. Well, Revelation 3:3. Remember then how thou was received and heard, and be keeping and reform. There you go, reform. If then thou mayest not watch, I will come upon thee as a thief, and thou mayest not know what hour I will come upon thee. If then thou mayest not watch, I will come upon thee as a thief. Right? And Jesus said before that if you're asleep, remember he was referencing Satan. He wants to come at a time when Satan won't be aware so that he could steal us away, right? Remember that. And also remember how he came to the disciples and they were asleep, right? So he says, if then thou mayest not watch, I will come upon thee as a thief. So that means if you're asleep, you're going to be caught by surprise. It's going to be like a thief in the night. He's going to come, right? So, if then thou mayest not watch, I will come like a thief. If you read the inverse, it would read, if thou may watch, I will come as the opposite of a thief. You see my point? So he really does want us to watch. He doesn't want us to be caught by surprise. He wants us, yeah. That statement within itself kind of hints to you that he does want you to calculate and be ready and watch. It says, if then thou mayest not watch, I will come upon thee as a thief. That's basically saying you gotta watch, and that goes back to my original little enigmatic impossibility of how are you supposed to watch for 2,000 years. In Revelation 16:15 he says, lo, I do come as a thief. Happy is he who is watching and keeping his garments, that he may not walk naked, and they may see his unseemliness. I also know, it's also partly spiritual, it's about being, watching, being in the light and the righteousness and all that. But I would say that the primary attachment here is time, not just spiritual righteousness. So, because slumber has definitely got to do with being not spiritually ready. But, anyways, very interesting stuff, man. So, I think, in conclusion, I think we are supposed to calculate and be ready. But even if we do, we'll never calculate the exact day or hour. Because if we could, that means Satan could. And then if Satan could, Jesus would have a problem with that, like he said in one of those verses. So that's why he's made that an impossibility. But, I mean, even all Satan has to do is keep track of 6,000 years. You know what I mean? That's all he has to do. It's not hard. So Satan would know the year. He could probably know the month. He could probably know the week. But anyways, that's what it is. And even though Jesus said, I'll come in the middle of the night, it's day on one side of the earth and night on the other. It still doesn't tell you exactly when he comes, you know what I mean? It's very enigmatic. But he only comes once. It's not like he's on one side of the earth at one time and the other earth at the other time. I mean, it's one him coming once at one time. So it'll be night for some and day for others, or to each their own, whatever it is, you know what I mean? Very, very interesting stuff. But that's all I need to waffle on. I'll just be further waffling, so this is all food for thought. But I would say everybody needs to get ready, because I pray to God it happens soon. I hope it happens soon, and it probably will be happening soon. That's all I could say. So when I heard the rabbi just earlier today say that Seth is termed in the Tanakh and in Judaism as the father of mankind, as soon as I heard him say that, I was like, yep, that's the 6,000 year calculation I did confirmed. Because the only minor nano doubt that I had was is that Seth wouldn't really count as the father of mankind, so you couldn't take zeros counting from Seth's birth. But then a rabbi turns around and says it, so I'm like, oh, okay, if he's officially regarded as that, then that's fine. Then we definitely are in year 5,998 or 99, whatever it is, right? So, anyways, I was finished off by repeating Revelation 16:15. Lo, I do come as a thief. Happy is he who is watching and keeping his garments, that he may not walk naked, and they may see his unseemliness. All right, folks. God bless you all. Everybody take care.